Hello friends, I am Dr. Ranjeeta Soni, Faculty of Environmental Science, Jagannath University, Jaipur. Today I will discuss about the social issues and environmental impact assessment. Basically, when we talk about the social issues, it is a kind of general issues, but in this lecture we'll basically discuss about some social issues which are related with the environmental activities. So we can understand about social issues is a big problem that influence considerable number of individuals within a society, and basically they are correlate with some environmental issues like pollution, waste management, sustainable development and rainwater harvesting. Basically in this lecture in social issues I will discuss about the adverse effect of the natural resources misuses or over exploitation and some pollution activities. So in the slides you can see some natural resources like forests, grasses, waters. These are the natural resources. So, and we can say they are the rechargeable resources. So basically they are everlastingly available mankind for their proper use and ensured, but we are not conserving these resources due to misuse and over exploitation. So we are just losing these kinds of resources day by day. Similarly, as we are using fossil fuels, non-renewable resources like minerals, resources and other energy resources, so if we will not manage or conserve these kind of resources, so they will be deplete for a short time. So similarly, water is, we know very well, it is a very most important and precious component. So we have to save or conserve this resource need every hour. Similarly, if we talk about some other issues like if we are generating or producing any kind of product with the help of industries or factories, so we have to maintain some pollution basically stop type of policies, like basically if we are initiating or installing any kind of industry, so EIA, environmental impact assessment and social impact assessment should be processed. Now if industrialists on the basis of polluter pay principle, so they have to be taxes like carbon tax. Similarly, if we are using water in the industries, so we have to maintain the integrated waste recycling system in the industrial premises, so all industries to maintain this kind of process. Now emphasis should be given on recycling industries, so the tax should be reduced like in form of water, reduction of water and electricity bill. Now each and every industry should have an environmental cell to monitor regularly mode on air, water quality and noise level, etc. Some resources, as we know, they are important for us, so we have to maintain these kinds of resources by maintaining their balance and pollution control methods, basically because they are essential to protect them for various kinds of hazards like floods and landslides and fires. So if we will save these kinds of resources, we will maintain our sustainable development. So we have to set some policies regarding these kinds of sustainable development, like if we apply or implement these kinds of policies like alternatives on food and fuel, wood and fodders, so it should be safe and it can be maintain ecological balance. Minimum 33% forest of plains and 60% on the hilly areas, so it should be maintained by our. Preservation of biodiversity is a must for sustainable development of forest. This is basically belongs to the forest. But if we talk about the agricultural or food generating sources or industries, so it should be related with the use of vermicompost, promote biopesticides in place of chemicals, then control of biological pests, Then promotion of a sprinkler drip irrigation system to maintain the water conservation. It is a part of irrigation system in agriculture area to use judicious use of water and to maintain the soil salinity. Similarly, if we are focusing on pricing policy of farm products, so it should be related with the field input, environmental cost plus social cost. So these are some principles. Now if we develop or just grazing any kind of dam projects, so we have to maintain the biodiversity. So we have to focus on the loss of forest, loss of biodiversity and the displacement of people from before the dam preparation. Now if we talk another social issues, like if we generate any kind of energy resources, so we have to focus on the urban problems which will be generate due to the energy issues, like various kinds of greenhouse gases due to the burning of fossil fuels. That means pollutants will be generated. Automobiles contribute in the greenhouse gases emission, smoke. Then nuclear power basically generates the various kinds of radioactive radiations or pollutions, hazardous waste also. Then fly ash and SPM and carbon monoxide, lead and other kind of heavy metals and toxic gases basically generated by the thermal power plants and other kinds of industries. So we have to focus these kinds of things before setup or installation any kind of industry or projects. Now if we talk about the crude transportation or their emissions, so we can focus on these kinds of issues like coal mining issues and human health issues. Then various kinds of hydroelectric power projects and dam construction activities. So they will also definitely generate the various kinds of issues like submergence, flooding, then displacements and so on. And other problems, if we talk about the dam problems, water flooding and submerging, so it also will relate about the resettlement and rehabilitation. So we have to focus on these kinds of things also. Now we have some examples regarding the rehabilitations and resettlements. If we talk about the Uttaranchal Tehri Dam project and Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh Narmada Sarovar and Sardar Sarovar projects, so we have faced lot of kinds of issues regarding rehabilitation, because we have to focus during the rehabilitation to the people, suffered people, shelter, food, medical, then education and other infrastructures. Then if we talk about the other than social issues, environmental impact assessment, which is the part to focus of various kinds of social issues. So basically, as per their name, environmental impact assessment, that means those activity which can generate the impact on environment. So we have to assess these kinds of activities. So basically this term environmental impact assessment is a kind of assessment to basically search the positive or negative impacts that a proposed project that may have on the environment, considering natural, social and economical aspects. Now basically environmental impact assessment began to be used in this in 1960s as a part of rational decision making process. It involved a technical evaluation that would lead to objective basically decision making, and environmental impact assessment was made legislation in the US in the National Environmental Policy Act, which is called NEPA, in 1969. Basically there are some steps which can be followed by for the process of environmental impact assessment or environmental impact process. So these are the steps. Basically the first step is called a screening, then scoping, then prediction and mitigation, then management and monitoring, and the last one is audit phase. So this is the first phase, screening, where we can just categorize the project results, and from this decision is made on whatever or whether or not a full EIA is to be carried out. Requirement it should be done or not. So we have to finalize the screening required or not. Then the second stage, scoping, is a process to determining which are the most critical issues to study and will involve community participation to some degree. So basically it is at this early stage that EIA can most strongly influence the outline proposal. So basically this is a part of beginning of the EIA process. Now prediction and mitigation is the main part of EIA process. So detailed prediction and mitigation studies follow scoping and are carried out in a parallel with feasibility studies, and basically studies can be prepared by the technical authorities or technical team. The main output report is called the environmental impact statement and contains a detailed plan for managing and monitoring, how we can manage or how we can regular monitoring of the project activities. So environmental impacts both during and after implementation of the project. Now finally, an audit of the EIA process is carried out some time after implementation. So audits serve a useful feedback and learning functions of the project. This is a flow chart or flow diagram of the EIA process, where we can see easily the process and steps, different kinds of steps of EIA: screening, scoping, then further description and identifications of impacts, then predictions, then how we can present, then regular monitoring and review of environmental impact statement, then decision makings by the audit teams, then post decision monitoring, and the all part relates with not only the team, entire team, but also with the part of public consultations also. Now these are some benefits of EIA. So if we are using any in any installation project using EIA, so we can see facilitates informed decision making by providing clear, well structured analysis report with their consequences of proposed project. Preemptions or early withdrawal of unsound projects or proposals, assist in the selection of alternatives. We can just find out some alternatives also, including the selection of best practicable and most environment friendly options, which will be favorable for the environment. Result in the best practice, prediction and mitigation of the adverse effects of project. So finally we can find out what are good or what are not good by the help of EIA process. Then this is the finally conclusion of EIA. Environmental impact assessment is a very beneficial step to check whether the project is environmental friendly or not. Since economic development is a result of interaction between natural resources and technology supported by designated for the basically designed for the people, so all human activities should be economically, socially and environment friendly. Thank you so much.